Excellent. Well, good morning. So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nora, and it will be an honor to guide your practice today. 2020 shows that we were not prepared for how our world turned upside down unexpectedly. However, one of the biggest lessons we learned was that as long as we were willing to change our perspective, we were able to create opportunities amidst the challenges that we experience. Since we're not always able to control all that happens to us, what a better place to welcome the unwelcome than in our yoga mat by practicing a few of the dreaded or disliked yoga poses to guide us on how to respond to the unexpected changes in our life. In order to assist us find the courage to keep our heart open and loving when we're challenged, we will continue practicing the Abhay, Haidrei, or Fearless Heart Mudra. So cross your right hand on top of your left, and except for your ring fingers, wrap your right fingers on top of your left fingers and just bring the tip of your ring finger and your thumb to touch. And just place your mudra on top of your heart center. This mudra help us to let go of our fears and our doubts and move forward during difficult times. So to start our class, I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Bring your attention inwards and start focusing on your breath. Remember, your mind is closely connected with your breath, so gradually begin to make your breathing as smooth and relaxed as possible. When we resist change or hold on tight on how we think the things should be, we tense and harden our body. So as you continue inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose, allow your breath to soften your heart, to help you let go of any tension, fears, or worries, or anything else that doesn't serve you during this hour. And let's take this opportunity to set up an intention for our practice, or sankalpa. An intention could be to focus on a mantra or on a feeling that you want to cultivate. Whatever arises, just trust that it might be exactly what you need to keep you present in case your mind starts to wander. If nothing comes up, you could focus on this mantra. I welcome the unwelcome. In order to change your perspective, I invite you to practice with an open heart and an open mind so we can start seeing our most challenging moments either on or off the mat as opportunities to grow, to thrive, and evolve. Let's take one round of collective breath to seal our intention. As you inhale, release your mudra and raise your arms overhead, palms together. And bring your intention from your mind into your heart as you sigh out your exhale. Gently open your eyes and release your hands down to your sides. We will begin on a kneeling position for our first pose, which is gate pose or Buchangasana. If this doesn't feel good for your knees, you can always roll your mat a few times or place a towel under your knees. And as you inhale, just extend your right leg long. And as you exhale, just place your right foot flat on the mat. Let's inhale and raise our arms overhead. And as you exhale, gently side bend towards the right. Slide your right hand on your right leg. And if you want to deepen the stretch, just look under your left shoulder. Inhale and come back to center. And as you exhale, side bend towards the left. You can place your hand all the way to the mat or on top of a block. As you inhale, come back to center, lower your hands, and bring your right knee back to the mat so we can repeat the same pose on the opposite side. So extend your left leg long and place your foot flat on the mat. Inhale and lift your arms overhead. Exhale and side bend towards the left. And remember, you have the option to look under your right shoulder if you want to feel a deeper stretch. Inhale and come back to center. And as you exhale, side bend towards the right. Just place your hand on top of a block or the mat. As you inhale, come back to center. Bring your left knee back on the mat. If you decided to use a block, just set it to one side and come into a tabletop position for our next pose, cat and cow. Make sure that your hands are right underneath your shoulders and your knees are hip width apart. As you inhale, drop your belly to the mat and lift your gaze towards the sky for cow's pose. Exhale for cat's pose. Round your back and look at your navel. And let's float our breath. Inhale for cow pose. Exhale, cat. One more time. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat's pose. As you inhale, come back into a neutral spine. And as you exhale, circle your hips a couple times to the right and a few times to the left, just to practice loosening up our grip on life and let life flow freely. And while you do this, feel free to incorporate any other movements that your body may be craving. On your next inhale, return back to center and into a neutral spine so we can move into Adho Mukha Svanasana or downward facing dog. Just walk your hands a few inches forward and spread your fingers wide. As you inhale, tuck your toes under, and as you exhale, send your hips towards the sky. And keep in mind, this is the first downward dog of the practice. So feel free to bend your knees, pedal your feet, or welcome any other movement that will allow you to settle into this pose. Just remember, your heels do not need to touch the ground. Once you find stillness, bring your attention to a focal point or drishti, either at the back of your mat or the wall. I want to remind you that where our mind goes, energy flows. So this pose invites us to change our perspective by stop focusing on problems so we can start opportunities in every situation. We will be moving into Ragdoll or Uttanasana. So on your next inhale, walk or jump your feet to the top of your mat. And fold forward from your hips. Your knees can be bent or straight. And feel free to sway from side to side. Dangle your arms or grab opposite biceps. Just let your head hang heavy. And while you're in this pose, just let anything that you may perceive as a problem to roll down your spine and fall into the mat. Inversions are some of the most common poses to help us change our perspective. The minute that we hear the word inversion, we think of a headstand or a handstand. But just remember, any pose in which our head is below our heart is considered an inversion in yoga. Release your hands to the mat and begin to bring your feet closer together. And as you inhale, roll up vertebra by vertebra and lift your arms overhead for mountain pose or Tadasana. Lift your arms overhead, palms are facing each other. Relax your shoulders away from the ears and use your breath to help you clear the lenses that you use to view the world. As you exhale, move into forward fold or Uttanasana. Fingertips can be touching the mat. Head and neck and relax. You can have a soft bend in your knees. And as you inhale, move into halfway lift or Urdhva Mukha Uttanasana. Fingertips can be either touching the mat or your shin. Remember, the goal of this pose is to lengthen your spine. So bend your knees as much as needed. Relax your head and neck and just gaze at your toes. As you exhale, move into forward fold. We will be moving through a couple rounds of half sun salutations to warm up our spine and help us to change our perspective. So as you inhale, rise into mountain pose. Interlace your fingers. Stay for the exhale. And on your next inhale, bring your hands into letting go mudra by interlacing your fingers except for your index fingers and begin to slowly lean backwards. When you reach the end of your flexibility, let go of your hands and fall forward for forward fold. We'll repeat this 2 more times. Inhale, mountain pose. Interlace your fingers for letting go mudra and gently arch your back. Exhale and move into forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Join your fingers and slightly arch back. Exhale, release your mudra and bow into forward fold. Inhale and rise into mountain pose, but this time, as you exhale, bend your knees and send your hips back for chair pose or Utkatasana. Send most of your weight into your heels and just make sure you can still see your toes and engage your low back, engage your abs to protect your low back. Remember that when we resist. So if we use this pose to summon the courage within us, to embrace our fear of uncertainty and surrender to what is. So as you exhale, cactus your arms, bend your elbows to 90 degrees and shine your heart out. This is the ultimate sign of surrender. Inhale and raise your arms for chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands on the mat and step back into a high plank. And as you exhale, move into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale and step your right foot forward into a low lunge. As you inhale, rise into crescent lunge or Anjaneyasana. Lift your arms overhead, palms are facing each other. You can always bring your left knee to the mat if you want to feel more stable. Just make sure that you leave your toes tucked. As you exhale, bow forward and extend your arms long behind you for airplane arms. Inhale, crescent lunge. On your next inhale, release your hands to the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale and step your left foot forward into a low lunge. Inhale and rise into crescent lunge. Raise your arms overhead like in mountain pose. And remember, you have the option to bring your right knee to the mat for more stability. Exhale, lean forward and extend your arms back for airplane arms. Inhale, crescent lunge. On your next inhale, lower your hands to the mat. Lift your right knee off the mat and step your left foot to meet your right in a high plank. And then as you exhale, move into downward facing dog. Take a big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. We will be moving through the cycle, just one breath per movement. Remember, It's important to listen to your body and follow at your own pace. So as you inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale and travel to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose. Exhale to chair pose. Stay for the inhale, and as you exhale, cactus your arms. Inhale and lift your arms for chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands on the mat and step back. And on the exhale, move into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale and step your right foot forward into a low lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, crescent lunge. Cartwheel your hands to the mat and step back. And on the exhale, move into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale and step your left foot forward into a low lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, crescent lunge. Cascade your hands to the mat and step back. Exhale and press into downward facing dog. Let's do this one more time. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale and step your right foot forward into a low lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, crescent lunge. Release your hands down to the mat and step back. Exhale and press into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale and step your left foot forward in between hands into a low lunge. Inhale for crescent lunge. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, crescent lunge. Lower your hands to the mat and step back. Exhale, move into downward facing dog. Take a big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. And now, come into a child's pose by opening your knees wide, sending your hips back towards your heels, and extend your arms forward. You can also take this opportunity to get a drink of water, towel off. We will all meet in downward facing dog. As we're moving into the last standing pose of the sequence, we will be, a pair of blocks might be helpful. So if you have those, just place them on the top of your mat. And when you're ready, come into downward facing dog. As you inhale, bend your knees and look up. And as you exhale, walk or jump your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose. Exhale for chair pose. Bend your knees and send your hips back. Since twists mimic how we deal with stressful situations in real life, we're going to practice using our breath to cultivate inner peace during a challenging situation by moving into prayer twist or Paribhuta Utkatasana. So on your next inhale, bring your hands to heart center, lean forward. And as you exhale, twist to the right. Bring your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Remember to prioritize your breath during this pose. And if it's in your practice, open your arms wide to receive all the opportunities that life has in store for you. If you open your arms, bring your hands back together. And as you inhale, come out of the twist. Plant your hands on the mat and step back into a high plank. And prepare for side plank or Bashi Stasana. You can bring your right knee on the mat and bring your right hand to the center of the mat and a few inches forward. Plant your left foot flat on the mat, and as you inhale, lift your left arm high. And you can either look at your left hand to change your perspective, or to your right hand if you need more grounding. I have to confess, this has been one of the poses that I have dreaded the most. But just like in life, if you approach things in a different way, by bringing your knee down to the mat, then this pose becomes gate pose, which is more accessible. And ever since, this has been one of my favorite poses. So as you exhale, lower your left hand and bring your knee back to the mat and press into downward facing dog. So we can repeat the same sequence on the opposite side. Inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale and travel to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale and rise into mountain pose. Exhale and move into chair pose. Twisting also helps us to rinse out stress, so then we can radiate our light during dark times. So as you inhale, bring your hands into heart center, lean forward, and as you exhale, twist to the left. Hook your right elbow on the outside of your left thigh. And if it's available for you, open your arms out. And remember, during challenging situations, that we learn to soar not through effort, but by taking a leap of faith. If you open your arms, bring your hands back together. As you inhale, come out of the twist. Plant your hands on the mat and step back into a high plank. Option to bring your left knee to the mat as you bring your left hand to the center of the mat and a few inches forward. Remember to extend your right leg long and plant your right foot flat on the mat. And as you inhale, lift your right hand high for side plank or Bashi Stasana. This powerful arm balance is named after the sage Bashista and reminds us that we're not our body or our mind. We're infinite. We're not bound by our circumstances. We are limitless. So as you exhale, bring your right hand to the mat and step your left foot to meet your right. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog so we can move into the balancing series. Inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale and travel to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose and prepare for one-legged mountain pose. Find your drishti or focal point and shift your weight into your left foot. On your inhale, lift your right knee off the mat. And right away, we're moving into an inversion. So extend your right leg behind you as we're moving into half splits. Carefully lean forward and bring your hands either to blocks or all the way to the mat. Just remember to leave a soft bend on your left knee. Being upside down reminds us that how we perceive ourselves and our world defines our experience, and that by changing our point of view, we can change everything. So don't worry too much about how high your leg is. Just relax your head. Just let your head hang heavy. As you inhale, very gently start coming out of the pose and moving into one-legged mountain pose. Exhale and return your right foot to the mat. And just give it a shake to your both legs. So we can repeat the same balancing pose on the opposite leg. So find your drishti or focal point and then shift most of your weight to your right foot. As you inhale, come into one-legged mountain pose by lifting your left knee off the mat. And as you exhale, begin to move into standing splits. Send your left leg long and bow over your right leg, keeping a soft bend on your right knee. And this pose reminds us that while it might not be in our hands to choose whatever happens in our life, we always have a choice on how we perceive things and how we react to them, which can make all the difference. On your next inhale, very gently begin to come out of the pose into one-legged mountain pose. And as you exhale, release your left foot to the mat, give it a shake to both legs, and come into a tabletop position as we move into the core series. We're going to practice not only straightening our core, but also to challenge our balance. So as you inhale, extend your right arm long, like if you're shaking someone's hand. And now stretch your left leg long and lift it up to hip level. And as you exhale, bring your elbow and knee to touch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. But this time on the exhale, bring your right arm and your left leg out to the side for awkward airplane pose. Hold on for one round of breath. And as you exhale, bring your hand and your knee to the mat so we can repeat the same sequence on the opposite leg. So inhale and extend your left arm long. And when you're ready, extend your right leg long and lift it to hip level. And as you exhale, bring your elbow and knee to touch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. But this time, as you exhale, move into awkward airplane pose by sending your arm and leg out to the side. Hold for one round of breath. And as you exhale, release your hand and your knee to the mat. And rest this pose with a round of cat and cow on your own, just to release your low back. When you're ready, come into a neutral spine as you inhale. And as you exhale, bend your elbows back behind you and lower your chest to the mat. And now, send your arms long behind you, palms facing up, and rest your right cheek on the mat before we move to the unwind portion of this class. Our first pose for the unwind series will be Spatula Pose. So you can keep your right cheek resting on the mat, or you can use a block, kind of like a pillow. And extend your right arm long as you bring your left hand right underneath your shoulder. As you inhale, press into the left hand as you slowly begin to roll towards your right side as far as it's comfortable. And you can feel free to leave your left hand where it is, or you can bring it to your low back to open your chest. This is one of the best poses to release the tension of our neck and shoulders. So as you take a big inhale, sigh out your exhale. And release the tension of your shoulders right into the mat. If it's not already, return your left hand right underneath your shoulder and very gently as you exhale, roll into your belly. Now bring your right hand right underneath your shoulder so we can repeat the same pose on the opposite side. So this time, extend your left arm long and rest your left cheek on the mat or on a block. Press into your right hand as you begin to slowly roll to your left side until as far as it's comfortable. And you have the option to leave your right hand where it is or to bring the back of your right hand to your low back to open your shoulders. Take a big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. And release any tension that may arise while you're in this pose. On your next inhale, bring your right hand right underneath your shoulder. And as you exhale, very gently begin to roll into your belly. And bring your left hand right underneath your shoulder so we can move into Sphynx pose or Salamba Buchangasana. So place your forearms and hands framing your face. And as you inhale, press into the hands and lift your chest and head off the mat. Make sure that your elbows are right underneath your shoulders and relax your upper body as much as possible. However, if you're feeling any type of compression on your low back, just walk your hands a few inches forward until you feel a comfortable stretch. Breathe in through your nose. Sigh it out. Exhale. Most of our crises happen suddenly and unexpectedly. Since we're not prepared to face those challenging moments, we tend to get rid of our suffering in ways that only make things worse. This pose in particular helps us bring down the barriers we build around our heart, because shielding ourselves from our own vulnerability only cuts us off from all the full experience of life, which includes feelings like love and joy. Take a big inhale. Open mouth, exhale. And let's open our heart to universal love in order to see that even in difficulty, there's an opportunity for spiritual growth. On your next inhale, to exit the pose, begin to walk your hands farther forward until you can gently lower your chest to the mat and rest your forehead on top of your hands. Bend your knees and windshield wiper your legs from side to side to reset your spine. Inhale and bring your knees back to center. Exhale and lower your legs to the mat. As you inhale, bring your hands right underneath your shoulders. And as you exhale, press into a child's pose. Open your knees wide. Send your hips towards your heels and bow over. Bowing down, it's another way we surrender to what we cannot control. However, all our lives we see surrender as a weakness, as giving up. But there will be times in our lives when letting go is not when our life is over. It's when our life really begins. On your next inhale, come into a kneeling position. Just bring your knees closer together, but leave your hands right where they are, because we're moving into lizard pose or Stasana. So as you inhale, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. And for this pose, you can either stay in tall arms, you can use a block, you can come all the way to your forearms. Another option could be to just come on the edge of your right foot and very gently press your knee out to the side for a different sensation. You could also either use a strap or reach your right hand back and grab a hold of your left foot to stretch your quad. Just remember, there's no right or wrong choice, as long as you choose whatever option is right for you. Take a big inhale. Open mouth, exhale. It is often said that how we deal with discomfort in our mat mirrors how we behave when we're challenged in real life. So this is the perfect pose to help us practice how we could deal with challenge in real life by reminding us that when our main goal is to avoid discomfort, we begin to feel disconnected and even threatened by life and others, since we have enclosed ourselves in a mesh of fear. Inhale through your nose. Sigh out your exhale. And tune into your breath. Be okay with discomfort, not pain. And remind yourself that you're stronger than what you think you are. Gently release your left foot if you decided to take that option. Come into tall arms as you inhale. And as you exhale, bring your right knee back to the mat so we can repeat the same pose on the opposite leg. So inhale and step your left foot on the outside of your right hand. And remember, you have several options. You can stay in tall arms, use a block, come into forearms, come into the edge of your left foot, or either grab your right foot to stretch your quad. As always, as long as you choose whatever option is right for you, that's all that matters. Take a big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. Being in this pose feels exactly the same as when we're in survival mode, because we can sense how our body tenses and our hearts become numb and constricted. If instead we breathe into the discomfort and remind ourselves to be grateful even for those trials, trusting that this circumstance it's perfect for our spiritual growth, this attitude increases our capacity for wisdom and happiness. Take a big inhale. Sigh it out, exhale. And use your breath as a way to embrace and be grateful for the challenge in this pose. Gently release your right foot if you decided to stretch your quad. Come into tall arms as you inhale. And as you exhale, bring your left knee back in the mat. Now sit your hips to one side. And come into a seated position. And as you exhale, extend your legs long for our next pose, which is wide angle seated forward fold or Upavishta Konasana. So open your legs as wide as it's comfortable. Since we will be holding this pose for a little bit longer than usual, you have the option to use blocks to support either your forearms or your forehead. So when you're ready, inhale your arms overhead to straighten our spine. And as you exhale, bow forward from your hips. Place your hands on the mat and begin to walk your hands until you feel a comfortable stretch on your low back and your hamstrings. Remember to flex your feet. And once you find that comfortable stretch, just surrender into the pose and let gravity do all the work. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. We all tend to distract ourselves during difficult experiences, situations, or poses as a way to avoid facing our discomfort and the vulnerability in our heart. This pose reminds us that when we become aware of an unwelcome sensation or feeling, the first thing we need to do is breathe into it in order to experience it as fully as we can in the present moment. Then lean into it. And as you exhale, just let it go. Big breath in. Sigh it out. Exhale. And continue accessing your breath to keep you present with whatever you're feeling right now. To exit this pose, begin to walk your hands back. If you decided to use blocks, just move them to one side, but keep them handy because we might need them for the next pose. So bring your legs closer together and very gently come into your low back. As we're moving into a hip opener that it's called twisted roots. So bend your knees and place the sole of your feet on the mat. And as you exhale, just very gently drop your legs towards the right side of your mat. If by any chance your right knee doesn't reach the mat, you can rest your right knee on top of a block. If you want to intensify the pose, you can stretch your arms out to the side and look over your left shoulder. Another option is also to place your right foot on top of your left knee. But if this becomes too intense, you can always bring your knees together for a supine twist. Breathe in through your nose. Sigh it out. Exhale. And rinse out any reluctance to accept things just as they are. Gazing over our left shoulder allows us to look at our life in a different way and encourage us to start noticing whatever we appreciate. We can take a note of even the most ordinary things, like the taste of our lunch or the sun shining in our face. This practice doesn't take too much effort, but it warms our heart and makes us feel more connected to the world. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth. Exhale. And let's continue to appreciate all the things that we sometimes take for granted. If you decided to intensify the pose, bring your right foot back on the mat. And as you inhale, bring your knees back to center. And as you exhale, gently drop your knees towards the left side of your mat. And feel free to either look over your right shoulder or to place your left foot on top of your right knee or just to come into a supine twist. Remember, listen to your body and just choose whatever option is right for you. Big breath in, open mouth, exhale. Twisting out for all perspective offers a new way to view our situation by reminding us that even though the idea of appreciating things just as they are might seem simple and accessible, it is also very profound and life-changing. Take a big inhale, open mouth, exhale, and let's use our breath to help us open our mind and see beauty everywhere, including within ourselves. If you decided to intensify the pose, just bring your left foot back on the mat. And as you inhale, bring your legs back to center. And just very gently windshield wiper your legs from side to side to reset your spine. As you inhale, just bring your knees back to center. As we move into Happy Baby Pose or Ananda Balasana, just as you inhale, bring your knees into your chest and either grab the outside of your feet or behind your knees. And feel free to sway from side to side or just find the stillness in the pose and use your breath to open your hips. Practicing several hard poses in a row can be frustrating and discouraging. So be sure to include one of your favorite poses in your flow, like this one. Just like in life, when we're going through a challenging situation, the key of not to lose heart is to take a break and just do something you enjoy. On your next inhale, release your hands. And as you exhale very gently, release your legs back to the mat as we move into our final resting pose of our practice, Shavasana. Open your legs wide and let your feet fall open to the side. Palms are by your sides. As a way to indicate that you're ready to receive the benefits of your practice. Close your eyes, soften your jaw. Let go of your Ujjayi breath and come back to your normal breathing. With each exhalation, release any lingering tension and just take this moment as an opportunity to heal, and I will awaken you when it's time. Start bringing awareness into your body by slowly moving your fingers and toes. Gently circle your wrist and ankles. As you inhale, extend your arms and legs long for a full body stretch, like if you're waking up for the first time today. Bend your knees and very gently just roll to your right side. You can rest your head on the inside of your arm or on a block. And while you're in this pose, which also symbolizes rebirth, I want to invite you to take a moment of gratitude towards your body for everything that your body was able to do and will be able to do today. To yourself for making the time to come into this practice. To your fellow practitioners for the energy they share. For this community. For life. With eyes closed and with the help of your hands, go into a comfortable seated position. Close our class. I would like to remind you that when we welcome the unwelcome, we not only create more openness in our heart and mind, but we also feel relieved not to be fighting off every single experience that is unpleasant that comes into our life. In addition, this practice of non-rejection gives us the opportunity to offer the freedom and the contentment we gained to all other living beings that need those qualities as much as we do. To close our class, bring your hands into prayer position and bring them to the third eye chakra in between your eyebrows. May we have peace in our thoughts. Now place your hands on top of your lips. May we have kindness in our words. And finally, bring your hands to heart center. May we have compassion in our hearts. Thank you for allowing me to guide your practice. Bowing forward from my heart to yours. Namaste.